Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing well. It is warming up here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I know back east, it's still probably pretty cold and a lot of people are digging out. But if you're out east, we just want to send you our warm wishes, and we truly mean warm wishes. It's less than a month away. We have a big, amazing event coming up in New York City. It's our 2026 Times Square New York City experience. And so we're going to have nearly 100 authors, guests, and friends coming out there to celebrate in Times Square, where we're going to have the book Celebrating Up on the Jumbotron. And the book is available. It's the #1 best-selling book, 365 Days of Resilience Quotes by entrepreneurs, business owners, and influencers. It's on Amazon. You can go to mybook.to. It's again, mybook.to/Art of Connection and the number 6 to secure your copy. And right now, Amazon has a Prime special going on to anyone who gets the book. I mean, it's a 2.5 pound book. 2.5 pounds. It's a lot of book. And we increased the size this year, so there's more room for author signatures for everyone. And so you can get that. Amazon's offering the book for $19.99 instead of the regular price of $25.99. So if you have the opportunity, just go to mybook.to.com. I'm sorry, mybook.to/Art of Connection number 6, and you can get your book there. Also, I want to let you know that iNet Publishing House, yes, iNet Publishing House, a newly formed company. Our mission is to guide authors, entrepreneurs, and visionaries in creating works that inspire hearts, foster connections, and leave a legacy. Again, that's iNet Publishing House. You can find us at inetpublishinghouse.com. And every Thursday, we have via Zoom, and we have another platform coming out called Pitch. You can find us on that platform, and we give lots of goodies in that. And I was just talking to one of our guests before the show about that, and she said, yes, you do. So I was really excited that she said that. Please note that you can find more information about our membership organization. That's inetalliance.com. That's inetalliance.com, where we empower entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders through community, media, and events. And speaking of events, you can find over 1,000 meetings and events at ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net. So just go there, check out the calendar, see if something is in the proper time frame for you, and come visit us. And so now let's get to it. I'm so excited. We are bringing my first guest to the stage. And Denise, welcome. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest on your show.
Well, thank you for being on the show as well. I'm so glad that you're here. Again, everyone, I am with Denise Yonkers. She's an international best-selling author, and we like to say a global voice of credibility. You can reach her at DMK, that's dmkyonkers @gmail.com, or call 847-322-4850. Again, I'm with Denise Yonkers, international best-selling author and global voice of credibility. And Denise, I'm so glad that you're here today. You know, and one of the things I want to say immediately is I've been teaching a lot of classes on authorship and being found. And one of the best way to be found in this day and age is through generative search, which is actually AI. You can go to any AI. Google has its own AI tool. Bing, Microsoft have their AI tool. There's ChatGPT. There's different ways. There's Perplexity, etc. And a lot of people don't know this, but being an author is the highest form of credibility, even higher than PhD when it comes to generative search helping us find people who have certain attributes that we're looking for. You know, like maybe it's a business coach, or maybe it's a local landscaper, or maybe, you know, it's someone who knows naturopathic health. And books are one of the greatest places to go. You know, and I know that you know that, and I just wanted to get a little bit take on your feeling about authorship and why authorship is so important to you.
Well, I am just beginning my authorship journey. I'm actually an author of 2 international bestsellers now. And I began the journey after I retired from my regular job. I took some time for myself to do some personal growth work because for me, it was time to kind of let go of what was no longer serving me and explore new opportunities and horizons. So when I found the opportunity to become part of a collaborative book and documentary film project, I thought, wow, this is perfect for me. So I became involved with that. And through some of the authors that I met working on that project, I became aware of your series and also was invited to become part of your Art of Connection in the Resilience edition. I have a page in there. But to answer the question, it is that healing, healing can be found in authorship. Self-expression fosters self-awareness. And then in self-awareness fosters personal growth. So I was able to grow into a better version of myself, which is exactly what I felt that I needed to do at the time and continue to grow and learn and develop skills as a person in order to have a fulfilling and happy life.
I love that, you know, and it's something where one of the question is many times and it's hard to believe, 88% of people, if you take 100 people, 88% or 88 out of 100 people, they want to be a part of the crowd on the writing the book side. The other 12, I'm not sure why not. They have it all. They probably have it all together. So the rest of us have to try to get it together by becoming authors, right? But most of those people, a good 96% of those 88% of people don't. And I talk about authorship versus entrepreneur authors, and there are differences between the two.
Yes.
Very, very few people are authorpreneurs. A few more are entrepreneur authors, but very, very, very few are able to navigate both. But my question to you is when you think back on your life, did you grow up thinking that someday that you were going to be an author? Did you think that you were going to be sharing your experiences or influences with others so your words start to form thoughts in their minds? Or is this something that came out a little bit later in your lifetime before you said, oh my goodness, I'm going to be an author?
Well, I said many times in my younger years, I should write a book. But little did I know, what the timing would be and that it would actually happen. So yes, I did have thoughts of writing a book earlier, but then for it to actually come into fruition, that is a whole nother exciting part of my life. It's very exciting when the finished product is out there and you can actually see your work, my work, in it. It's just amazing.
That is a perfect feeling.
Yeah, it's a great feeling of accomplishment.
So as you're going through your author journey, are there any stories or any ideas or anything that came up for you that you ended up writing about that you might want to share with us today?
Well, I wrote this. I have 3 stories in the first book, and I wrote the first one. I really wanted to write about the relationship between my late husband and I, whom I still love dearly and miss, who'll always be in my heart. So I wrote a short story about our relationship. It's called Our Ageless, Timeless Love. And it
Mm.
goes into how it's like we were both on a time dial, and the universe decided that this is where we should be aligned in time, and this is the amount of time we will have together, and this is the amount of time that we will spend with each other. And it was a beautiful relationship. And I wanted to really write about it. I wanted him to be acknowledged. And I just wanted to honor him, and just, am so glad that he doesn't have to suffer anymore, that he never has to experience hate or violence or, any evil
A
or,
lot of the negatives, and
oh my gosh.
right,
And
maybe,
that he is truly experiencing the warmth of God's love, and that he will do that for eternity.
yeah, so you're a part of the Art of Connection book series. You've been a part of other book series, and as you continue along, I think that authorship is in your journey, and as you keep traveling through authorship, and believe me, I call myself a recovering programmer. Authorship is an amazing place. My goal is to disrupt the industry, because I feel like people don't have the information they need to really become outstanding authors who not only create impact but income. I think that that's one of the biggest things, that if I can help authors. But I think in your life, what you're really doing is you're sharing story to help others actually find their stories. And speak to that a little bit. And
Mhm.
why does that matter so much to you? Why are you out there championing this global influence of getting other people themselves to share stories globally?
Because I feel that everybody has something to share, and something worth sharing,
Hmm.
and that people are interested in what they have to share, and are interested um, in being instrumental in helping them reach goals, and see them be productive, and be able to utilize some of the skills that they may think they don't have but do have.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and which leads to another question which I have. It's a question I've never heard before, but I'm gonna ask this of you. A
Okay.
lot of times especially when we write books, it's usually experiences of ourselves, or it's usually in some way to become more credible and more visible in our business. But
Mhm.
what I think that you do in what you do is you're attempting to not only reach those voices in the world, but you're also wanting to create a space where those voices will be heard and they will write too. But as you do that, are there any particular voices that you really want to champion and help them get their voices seen, heard, and valued? Who is that audience? Who is that audience that you're looking for to really champion to be seen?
I'm probably the underdog. I've always been kind of working with the underdog type, even in my career. And I feel that it's very, very worth it, because, sometimes people don't have the same opportunities as other people. And, they had like maybe a difficult beginning, and they didn't necessarily have a lot of support. And I just want to be sure that I can make somebody be assured that they are supported and they are worthy and that they are enough and they can grow and learn, as individuals, and that they don't have to be alone doing it, that there are people that truly are looking out for their best interest and would like to them to be, a part of the team and grow and learn together.
I love that. But what is it that, what is that one thing, or maybe it's a couple, two or three things where you help other voices create that breakthrough? What does that conversation look like? And what is your first attempt at doing this? Because a lot of people, they don't want their voice out there. They look at it as, oh my goodness, there's this thing called imposter syndrome. And it's just like, I just, I sit down at my desk and I look at my life and I've accomplished nothing. And, where my wife says I can't, my parents say I can't, my husband says I can't, my kids say I'm crazy. Believe me, I've had all those things happen to me. But the only one who championed me was the dog next to me, who said, yes, Dad, you can do this.
Yeah.
I mean, because in many ways, even though 88% of the population wants to become an author, they want to share this voice with the world. They want to hold their dear experiences, tenderly, right?
Yes.
But yet the fan base sometimes that's around us, not always the way through. Sometimes they come around, but they tend to be the ones that say, what are you doing, Denise?
I know. Did
you have that to contend with? And do you have other people that contend with that, where you have to say, no, just shut everything out. Let's sit down. Let's get disciplined and make this happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's exactly what I had to do. I had to let go of what was no longer serving me and then just really focus on exploring opportunities that were meaningful to me and that I enjoyed. And that when I wake up in the morning, I'm glad and happy and excited to start working on or doing. And I think it's probably getting people to believe in themselves, to believe that they can really do things that they don't think they can do, that they can do the impossible almost.
I love that, doing
but
yeah. And for some, it is doing the impossible. It absolutely is. I tell people, and I said this in the Global Author Impact Forum earlier today. For me, it's like you reach that point in life where you care, but you don't care. You just care, but you don't care. Yeah. And so I used to be so worried about what was said, but now I'm really more worried about what I do and what I'm doing for the world. And if people don't like that for the first time in my life, quite frankly, I'm okay with that. I can't please everyone. Heck, I can't even please myself half the time. When I get up in the morning, I open up the cabinet and I say, what am I going to eat for breakfast today? Right? It's like, you just, pleasing people, pleasing yourself sometimes is too hard.
Yeah.
But I think, one of the things that I love about books is that whether it's digital, whether it's in print, and of course, if you do it on Amazon, you can get both, is when it's done, at least for me, there's no greater sense of accomplishment than having that book done. Because don't get me wrong, whether it's a page, a chapter, or an entire book, there are still, from nuanced micro struggles to just struggles on the outside that occur. Even with The Art of Connection, I would say probably 30% of the authors come back and tell me, they said, that one page, trying to get everything into one page, was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done. And I believe it, because some of the pages I had to write, I'm like, come on, I want so much more. And you talk about, getting to the place of creativity. It's just like, wow, how can I use one word that explains 5 or 6 words? But at the end of the day, what is it really about? It's about my voice sitting next to other voices and growing powerful ideas without hesitation. And the funny thing about hesitation is the more that you practice it, the less you hesitate.
Mhm.
And I think that's true about authorship as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You just have to go for it. Just be ready and go.
So in your life, and I can't wait because I'm going to bring on Maria in a little bit here,
Okay.
just a couple of moments. And so she's going to be able to reflect in our last segment, because I have you come on and then Maria will come on, and all three of us will be together in that last segment. But one of the things that I do want to ask you is, you know, if you were able to see, here I am trying to take everything and put it down into one concept, right? One page, one paragraph, one thought.
Okay.
If you were to state one powerful message to the world, what would that message be, and who would it be to?
Well, I think it would be mostly to the younger generation, and it would be never underestimate the power of yourself. Believe in yourself, and don't hesitate to become what you want to become.
I love the powerful of that.
Yeah.
And so
The power of ourself. We have power.
And so with some guidelines, with some guideposts, so to speak, what are some of the how would you guide aspiring authors? What would be some of the first things you would say to them to start getting their authorship journey going?
I would say to start journaling, to get a journal and to journal daily thoughts and ideas that they may consider writing about. And then I would also advise them to, maybe look at communication, writing, getting the structure,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing the different parts of what are necessary to put a good book together. So that's more like structure. And then well, it depends. Some people have published their own book, but if not, then to look for a 5-star publisher. And if they need help putting it together, then they could definitely find that through your platform.
Well, thank you for that.
Mhm.
So 2 more questions, and one of these is somewhat of a personal question, but I think it's also a dynamic question. In this process, and I believe in lifelong learning,
Mhm.
and I know that you believe that as well. I've heard you
Yes.
speak. I've heard you in our forums before. But in these last few years that you have this opportunity of becoming
Yes.
an author and raising your voice and helping others with their clarity,
Yes.
bringing global awareness to them as well. What is one thing that you've learned about yourself these last few years that surprised you that you might want to share with us?
That surprised me. Well, it surprised me that I stepped out of my comfort zone more than I thought I would, but I'm very glad that I did it. Like I traveled solo outside of the US myself, and I would have never thought I would do that, and visited new places in the world. And I'm a vocalist now at the music ministry at the church that I go to in my community.
I
And,
love that.
and then the author of 2 international bestsellers. I mean, that in just the past 5-6 years, I feel that I've really, come quite a way since 2020. That's for sure. busy. I kept busy and just incorporating the things that I love into my life, the things that really bring joy to my heart and things that really light me up.
I love that, Denise. Everyone, I'm with Denise Yonkers. She's an international best-selling author and global voice of credibility. And I say that so much that nothing is more credible than being an author. You can reach her it's dmkyonkers@gmail.com, or you can call 847-322-4850. Again, I'm with Denise Yonkers. She's an international best-selling author and global voice of credibility. Please reach her at dmkyonkers@gmail.com or call her at 847-322-4850. Denise, thank you so much for being here today. But stick around. We have a little bit of wrap up, all of us together, so we can create some reflections in the last segment. Again, thank you so much for being with me right now.
Thank you, Robert.
I appreciate you so much. And we're just going to take a little bit of break, and then we're going to bring our next guest, Maria Mantoudakis. I believe I have that right, Mantoudakis, into the studio. So I'm looking forward to this. All right, I'm ready to get up and dance, okay? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. Denise, thank you so much. You gave me goosebumps because believe me, I'm just an old program. I'm an old jarhead, a Marine, and believe me, I never ever in my life thought journaling and writing pages and books would bring so much pleasure. But at the end of the day, it really does. It brings everything together. And someone else who brings many, many things together is our next guest who is coming on to our show. And that is Maria Mantoudakis. Maria, how are you?
Oh, very wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Robert.
I am so excited to have you as well. I'm probably most excited just because I get to say your name.
That is an achievement for sure.
I love your name, and if I know anything culturally speaking, I believe that's a Greek name.
Greek name, yes.
And in one of the places I've been able to travel a little bit, I have not been to Greece yet, and that is on my life list because to me, I just want to feel that I'm a part of what I would say modern philosophy that has started us all. And in so many ways, Maria, I just feel like if we go back to the ancient Greek philosophers and we go back to the information and the etiquette and the training and the depth that they had, I just feel like there's so much to learn. And I know I'm going so much because I just feel like with all the information that we have that's being poured on us today, so much of this information really is based from those ancient philosophers in Greece, and what a wonderful country. Everyone, I am with Maria Mantoudakis. She is owner of ReCreateSuccess Now. Please reach her at Mantoudakis, and I'm going to spell it. It's Mantoudakis at yahoo.com. Or call her at 908-227-1193. Again, Maria Mantoudakis, owner of ReCreateSuccess Now. Please reach her at Mantoudakis at yahoo.com or call 908-227-1193. And I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you so, so much, Robert.
I kind of want to go into it. I haven't interviewed you on my show yet, and so this is our first day. And so when I bring on someone to the show the first time, or an iNet Connect, I always like to go backwards before we go forwards. And one of the things that particularly kind of hit me is your upbringing. And what I say that is, I kind of want to look like what type of upbringing made you put on these lens and start looking at life in a way where, for as much as there's on the outside, you had an introspection that started on this inside. And not everyone has that. A lot of times we have to develop that, but you started developing, being introspective at a very young age. Tell us about that, and how did that happen?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for starting with that, Robert, because it was very interesting for me. My mom was just a busy person. She just had a lot of things to do. So she was busy cleaning house, doing laundry, doing this. She was a busy person. You could not catch her. My dad worked right next door to our home, and he was a carpenter. So he spent a lot of time creating things. And as a child, and by the way, I was an only child, so I got a lot of time to reflect and think about things. I would play, I would do things, and I would run to my father, and I would try to talk to him about what I just discovered, either mentally or physically. Now, my father had come from a family of 16 kids, and his fear of having an only child is creating a human that doesn't understand or care about other people. And that was like his biggest fear. So anytime I went to him with anything, he would always ask me to describe it from the other person's point of view. So if I said, "Oh, I saw so and so outside," he would say, "Well, tell me how they felt when they saw you. Were they happy? Were you somebody they want to play with?" So he would always flip it on me, which made me always think about, where is the other person coming from? Which was very interesting. The other thing, I was as a super young person, like 5 years old, 4 years old, I was out to save the unfairness of the world. So when I played, I would see as an example the ants working very hard and carrying, a piece of seed, and then I would see the rain come and take them away. So I started taking the furniture from my dolls, and I would try to cover the holes in on the ground in order for the ants not to die.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Interesting.
So I was always thinking in a very unique way. And also, when I tried to have a conversation with other kids my age, they had no clue where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Like, try to talk about the ants, like, we have to save them. Like, they work so hard day and night. I see them coming in and out of this hole, and then the hole is flooded with water. Like, we're able to save them.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "What are you talking about?" And of course, my mother would be like, "Stop putting stuff on the sidewalk. People are going to kill themselves. They're going to trip."
Yeah. I'm getting goosebumps, and I'll tell you why. And I'm getting goosebumps because my childhood, I'm an only child.
Yeah.
And I was raised by a single mom, and who was working to receive her master's degree and then her PhD, and my mom's amazing. And we didn't have a lot of time together. She always gave me time and we had conversation, but a lot of my time was alone time. And a lot of my time was like, look, we're 5-6 years old. There's not like a lot of life to reflect on.
Yeah,
And so a part of like my whole world is it kind of gave me the space. You could say force me, but I'll look back and say it gave me the space to actually look at other things that people may not look at. You looked at the ants. One of the things that I found fascinating was technology, and it probably was why I was a programmer at that part of my life. And I used to look out my window at night, Maria, and this was when I was really young. I was in Omaha, Nebraska, and I used to watch the lights. And it was so phenomenal to me to see how the lights on the grid started turning on, like the ants. And I used to think like, someone put those poles in, someone invented that light bulb. Somehow there was electricity that went to those lights. They're all spread a certain space from each other. They're all lined up. They all turn on at a certain time. All of this was, and I knew it wasn't magic. I knew it was created. And that's why I love, founder of ReCreateSuccess Now. And when I looked at that, the same with the ants, I knew that I was a part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to compete so much of my time with just the social parts. So I had to look at the functional things that were all in my environment. And that took up a lot of my thinking time. And you can't help but remind me of those simple little things of seeing the lights come on.
Yes.
And I think that in certain ways, there's a certain part of nurture in there where you're nurtured without being nurtured. And I think that that's what we kind of came up with you and I, is we came up with a certain amount of internalness that created an introspection kind of early on, where maybe people who are living a very social dynamic and a lot of people all around you never have your own time, don't get that. Do you kind of agree with that? Or
absolutely. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting that you're talking about the lights. I live in New Jersey, and as you know, we just had like a huge storm.
Yes.
And a lot of the power went out. And everyone, of course, was worried about losing power. And in my head, I kept thinking of how many people were working either to keep the power going, or for those that had lost power, how many people were out in the cold and the blizzard and trying to get the power to come back on, right? So, yeah. So even today, Robert, that's why you and I come together, right? Like
Right.
we meet.
Yeah.
Because there aren't that many people you could talk to.
Right. And that's where I believe certain things come about, because where others are sharing space, we have to go deep and develop space. And there is a difference there. And so in many ways, I felt like, for me anyway, there was like a lifetime where I had to keep catching up, and people were socially ahead of me. And I felt a little bit apart from them because I didn't have the same training. But then when I would talk to them, they would also be like, where do you come up with these ideas? What are you talking about? And why do you need thing? And then all of a sudden you're like going like, okay, well, it's because I'm home alone all the time. There's nothing else to do. I mean, you don't say that, but then for so long, Maria, for me, I felt like I had to constantly catch up to connect, And I had to constantly catch up to understand a language that people could hear.
Yeah.
And yet, now in my stage of life, I have found, because of all these things, I can look at personal systems. I can look at personal patterns. And it actually kind of helps me, because I can actually look at a person and I can start to see what type of space that they need to develop in. And I probably wouldn't have had that if it wasn't all those years of me having to do it for myself.
Absolutely.
And I'm so wondering if that's how it is for you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and something special happened in my life, which is totally by universal synchronicity, is all I'm going to say.
Okay. No, go ahead. I love it. I love it.
So I was always in corporate. I'm still in corporate. And I somehow ended up in a course that was called the Dale Carnegie course.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it taught several things, but one of the things that I thought it did well, it took an introvert like myself and taught you how to be an extrovert, taught you how to connect with others, to put forth a positive something. And I took the course, I coached for the course, I became an instructor for the course, and I taught it for 15 years. The interesting thing is that I enjoyed it tremendously. People see me and they still think I'm an extrovert. But to be honest, in this part of my life, I'm enjoying being my introvert self.
I love that. I love it.
Because we grow up and we feel like we're different, and it's like we admire the people that, with the social talents and, being able to connect with everyone. And, like I said, I entered this part of my life where I figured out how to do that. But again, that wasn't the real me. Now going back to that again. But it's very interesting. And it's also interesting to watch where the universe puts us and for what reason. So now a lot of my reflection has to do with, what is this teaching me? Almost every night, I write, what did I learn today?
Yeah.
By whatever happened in my life, right? So it's very interesting and fascinating as to where we are placed in order to accomplish whatever we're supposed to be accomplishing in this life.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I believe that that's beautiful. And I think that that's where, in certain ways, as an introvert, as someone who had to really diagram introspection earlier in life, I think that's why sometimes when we're working with those extroverted people, we actually help them show up, but not just from the sizzle of it. I think for you and me, we always try to say, let's put the stake into it. Let's show up with depth. Let's show up with character. Let's show up with courage. Let's show up with conviction. Let's show up with discipline. And see, these are things that we were trained, because if we didn't have that growing up, we would have gone crazy.
Oh,
so
exactly.
we had to create all these models to perform and just kind of stay vibrant. Would you agree with that, or is it, there's other things as well?
Absolutely. You're right on, Robert. Absolutely. Totally agree. I was passionate about school. I was the kid that couldn't wait to go to school.
I can't, and you can't wait for Monday. Come on, Monday. Let's go Monday.
Exactly. So, Yes, absolutely. It became a place where you could talk about things,
Mhm.
and you could uh, look deeper, better understand how everything comes together, right? So,
Yeah. Well, and here's something else: inner power, inner strength. One of the things in my business I really had to get through is putting people up on stage. And I remember it took me some growth there because I would see them and they would be so perfect on stage, and they knew that part of the process, whereas I would be so awkward on stage. Yet they walk off stage and they were just a mess. And then I walk off stage and I'm like, okay, I got, I have this to do and I have this to do. And there was just kind of like unequal, how would I say, um, harmony
yeah,
between what I was seeing and what was supposed to be done versus me who would do, but yet I wasn't always the best to be seen. And I look at it like there's performers, and then there's those who, let's say on stage, you have the stage, the crew, and then you have the cast. And in many ways, I always felt like I was always going to be a crew member, not a cast member. And I think sometimes I felt like a little bit like towards people. But what I had to grow was, in certain ways, my struggles I had to conquer and turn into strengths, and that's being the person that's in front of the life.
absolutely, absolutely. Robert, um, I really think that we were meant to be on stage, not in the back, not in the back. And I know that sometimes it's uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the time, I don't know if you experience this. Um, I become another person on stage.
Right, right.
It's
And I believe a lot of it is because we have formalized these principles for so long. It's natural. It becomes one point in time in our life where it becomes natural to share them.
yes, exactly.
It just is totally natural, and we forget that it was our struggle, and now it's actually turned into our truth. It
Yeah,
turns into our strength, and it turns into something that we can lead from. And I think that's what you help do. Whether a person is totally extrovert or introvert, I think what you do, Maria, is you help people align their inner strength with their outer light. Speak to that a little bit so people can kind of understand that type of philosophy.
yeah. So, I'm going to talk about corporate, if that's okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
because there's so many people who say, I have to quit corporate in order to find spirituality.
Mm,
And many, many years ago, I think I was in my 20s. Again, work was work, right? You don't want to get up at 5 in the morning. You don't want to be driving an hour to work. you know,
yeah, yeah.
you go down the list of right?
So sometimes, nowadays, sometimes you don't even want to go down the hall. But
Exactly. 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 But one day I realized that I wasn't there to do my job,
Mm,
but I was there for a different purpose. And again, that's when I started talking. What did I learn, or what did I teach? So I started looking at the people around me at work. And instead of worrying about what we had to do, and of course we had to do it, and of course we had to do it in our best of abilities, right?
yeah.
But I always knew that it was more than that. This person is in my life for a reason. Either I'm here to listen, I'm here to help them, or I'm going to learn something tremendous from them.
Mm.
And Robert, let me tell you, when you start looking at work that way, you don't want to ever leave.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Absolutely, you never do. And
Yeah.
it reminds me of something that I've learned. And you actually brought up two concepts with me. One of the things that I've heard is I hear a lot about mindset. And one of the things that I've learned, if it doesn't start with your heart set, your mindset don't matter. And so
Exactly.
I say, but if you have your heart set and your mindset, you will always work on your skill sets for success.
Absolutely.
But here's something else that I wanted to share with you that was differently. And I really want to go over this with you. I've been wanting to ask you with this. So many times I hear people say, become your best self, show up as your best self, best, 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 best. Of course, I guess maybe it's because I was staring at too many lights as a kid. I don't know. I've always had a problem about people who say they're going to show up as their best selves.
Yeah.
What I'm more in agreement with, because one of the things I think when I say best self, it means that there's no room to improve.
Yeah.
And so for me, what I prefer to say is I want to show up in my fullest self. And what I mean by that is that way I can still take in, because my goal is not to be the best. My goal is to continually improve. And so I wanted to kind of get your take on that, because we're so aligned when it's like recreate success now, because to me, it's about being fuller, and every day is your opportunity to recreate something more. And that's what helps you achieve success.
Oh my goodness. You are so right on. I would go as far as to say what you're seeing today, what you're seeing of me today, is absolutely not the best version of me, because that hasn't happened.
Mm.
If we become better every day, that means tomorrow you're most likely going to get a better version of Maria than you will today.
Yeah.
And the day after that, even a better version.
Mm-hmm.
And the day after that, even a better version. And talking about versions, back in 2021, I wrote a book that was called Tsunami to Greatness. And it became a bestseller and all that stuff, whatever. But the way the book was triggered was I was at Starbucks sitting next to these two young boys. They were teenagers. And they were talking about their life and how tough it was.
Yeah.
And of course, I could do nothing but agree with them, because when I was a teenager, we didn't have all this stuff going on. We didn't have shootings in schools, and we didn't have global warming. We didn't think about stuff like that. It seemed to be an easier, happier time. We didn't have social media where anybody could go up and write something negative about you. And if you're a teenager, it's so tough trying to even defend yourself, right? Yeah. And they were talking about taking their life. And that's when I started typing my book. I started talking to them about what I had learned about life, which is whatever you're going through right now, you're going to be laughing about when you become my age.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was a teenager, I had all these problems. I just wanted to die. Well, that's what we said, right? Oh my God, I could just die.
Oh, they still say that today. So, I just want you to know that has not changed.
And now we look back and we're like, oh my gosh, that was nothing, right? That was absolutely nothing. And we laugh about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Without realizing that whatever we are dreading right this moment, this version of ourselves can't handle it. But the future version of ourselves is going to be laughing about it. So yes, I totally agree with you that, bringing the best version of ourselves is impossible until the day before we die. That becomes,
even then, it's not a given.
Even that is questionable.
Well, I just want to let everyone. Oh my goodness! I love it. I have smile. I'm sore. My smile's sore. I am with Maria Mantoudakis, owner of ReCreateSuccess Now. Please reach her at mantoudakis@yahoo.com or call 908-227-1193. And Maria, thank you so much. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Denise here with us. And let me see. Let's get over here. And Denise, there you are, popping back in like the wizard. You are.
Yes, hello.
And so what I'd like to do is just have a little time to reflect on the segments of the show. And I'll start with you, Denise. What did you get out of the interview with Maria and I?
Well, I was amazed that you were both only children and how you had all that time to think about the things that you did. I was an only child for quite a while from my mom's first marriage. So I had that time. I had some of that time as well. But it's just amazing the things that we come up with when we have all that time, but yet they're solid things. They're actual things. Like mine were, they're like big, like seeds that used to fall from the trees. They're like big pods that had seeds in them. And they just would amaze me. And I thought, well, I wonder if I open this and plant one, will all trees grow? And I tried to do it, but I mean, I really don't know if they did or not. But just some of the things that, as children, how exploratory, how we love to explore, and discover.
Yeah, and I love that word. That is one of my favorite words, is discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a word that is often misused and or misinterpreted. But if you really look at things and you do it in the way of the definition, mm-hmm. I think discovery is one of the most beautiful things that we can have as human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And Maria, what are your thoughts on my conversation with Denise today?
Denise, I just kept shaking my head. Yes, the whole time.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear this. Some positive feedback.
And it was so amazing that you do see yourself as a person that has a lot to share in order to help others mm-hmm. with their transformation.
I totally agree with that.
And that was also... I was like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to Denise more also, because that has also been my focus, with my talks and with my courses, as to, because like Robert said earlier, it's all about mindset, right? Like yes. We could be going through something and thinking, I'll never get out of this. I will be like this forever. Which brings you down and weakens you.
Yeah.
And also, from a law of attraction thing, attracts more of the same thing into your life.
You could, yeah.
But if somebody appears and says, guess what? you are about to awaken into a new version of you that's going to be stronger, better. And by the way, you're going to be looking at whatever situation you're in right now, years from now, and laughing about.
Mhm.
And the minute that you shift that mindset, then it's like, yeah, I could take this on, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, but I was listening to you and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so wonderful that there are people like Denise out there
Mm.
that are spreading the word and shifting the mindset, encouraging people to be outside of their comfort zone,
Mhm.
because that's where all the opportunities are,
Yeah.
outside of our comfort zone.
You know, and what I love and I learned about what both of you today is growth starts from the inside, and joy is manifested on the outside, even though we didn't speak about it, but I can feel it. But I think most importantly is no matter what, we all go through things in life. Remember that life is more beautiful when we get to share it with people who are traveling with us and wanting to do great things. Because to me, life was not meant, and I know because I used to watch the streetlights and Maria used to watch the ants. Life is not meant to be lived alone. Life is meant to be shared, and life is meant to be lived. And life is meant for those who want to love. And that's what I am learning in my life. And I want to thank you both for being on the show today. And like Doritos, I will always create more. I am so honored that the both of them, I'm getting goosebumps even saying this, that are in the Art of Connection. And I'm so excited to go to New York. And we're also having a special on the 5th day, Maria. And so Dale Carnegie, who worked with Napoleon Hill, his grandson is going to be with us on the Friday.
Wow.
And so that is something that has not happened before. So it's a historical first for the authors of The Art of Connection.
Yeah.
But you guys, let's get together. Let's share more time. And so we can share more smiles.
Okay.
So everyone, Maria Mantoudakis, Denise Yonkers, thank you for being on the iNetrepreneur radio show today. As I said, let's do this again. Like Doritos, I will always make more.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you so much, Robert. Pleasure.
You've been watching the iNetrepreneur Show, a production of the iNetrepreneur Radio Network with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.